All right, everybody, we just like to hang out. If you don't know the mastermind, in the first 5 minutes is just hanging out. So, we discuss everything and anything coffee, football. It's not football season right now, so that's, but I feel bad for your Seahawks there, Leon. I don't think they're really going to have much chance this year.
They're not my Seahawks. They're my sons. So, usually what happens every year, twice a year, they can root against me and the 49ers for the rivalry it used to be. And I just, I can't handle a team who thinks that they can always grab people in the fifth round and trade first round draft picks away when they know they need a lot of help.
Josh Shonley, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. We're excited to hear about an upcoming course that I believe you're creating.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I was supposed to announce it, but I just did.
No, listen. You guys have to figure it out. We got the content in there, so you.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna put you on the spotlight right now.
I didn't mean it. That sounded a little bit. I don't mean you guys have to figure that out.
Okay, let's just
that came out wrong.
Okay, so here.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Let me ask you this. We're not going to go through it right now, but give me a 10,000-foot view on who this course is for, because a lot of people know StreetText, know that Jennifer Salter has one, Jakey Patel, Gabrielle, and then you're going to be next on here. What would be unique to this course that would really be helpful for people?
I think how you can marry technology with the personal touch, and do it in ways where you've got more leverage, and maybe you're someone who has a sales organization that you also support, or a team, or something where I would say it's almost in between. I'm not doing as much personal production like Janky, but I've got maybe not as personal touch as Jennifer Salter. So finding that the happy medium, and then also taking best practices from, I've got a lot of agents in my sales organization that are also, having a lot of success with StreetText. So we've broken it down into the exact processes for home value seller leads, what I call buyer lead on demand, and then the individual property listing campaigns, and the exact workflows, short-term follow-up and automation, the long-term nurture, and everything in between.
Troy's almost reviewed the entire course, and he said it is gold.
I appreciate that.
I'm putting you on the spot, Troy. And anybody have questions for Josh? Because Josh, you have a lot of technology you use. What are the key integrations along with StreetText that you are using in your follow-up process?
HomeBot, and actually we have to add this part because we just started doing. I've been integrating HomeBot for seller leads for, I think probably since the very beginning of using StreetText. Just started integrating it on the buyer side as well, which you do have to have a lender co-sponsor to do that. So HomeBot, we're using Zapier to send data a bunch of different places, but HomeBot, we're using KV Core, but it's, whatever CRM. We use a platform for direct mail called thanks.io. And what other tech do we have integrated? Go back through my notes here. HomeBot.
BombBomb.
So here's another big one. And actually this, BombBomb, absolutely. I commented yesterday in the group because someone asked for ISA, and I don't know why I haven't, sort of sung their praises sooner, but Smart Alto is a company that I've been using for a long time now at the recommendation of a very successful agent in my organization. And they are a text-based ISA platform that I could not recommend more highly. And in fact, I would recommend for virtually everyone, you do that before you go and hire a call-based ISA. That's just my personal recommendation from my experience.
Who is this?
It's called Smart Alto. You can schedule a demo with them at growwithjosh.com/smart, I think. I've been using them since late last summer, and they have scheduled, I have to look at the numbers, but probably close to 200 appointments on my calendar since last summer. And they do it all by text, and they use a combination of automation and actual people.
Smart Alto.
Smart Alto, ALTO.
You can throw that link in there, Josh.
Sure.
Didn't they just launch like 2 years ago on that one, Josh?
Yeah, they're definitely newer. 2 years probably sounds right. I mean, I could not be, folks, it's a regular topic within my organization when people are looking for hiring. And I think that, to me, is the most logical first step, because people would much rather text. There's still a value in the phone call, but I like when I just have appointments show up on my calendar, which I had, Smart Alto set two appointments for me on Monday over the weekend while I was literally, I didn't do a single real estate related thing this past weekend. I was just running kids around, and I had two calls on my calendar for Monday morning.
Yeah, you can go look them up go look them up on Facebook and stuff like that. You can he's pretty proactive with his posts and everything. So he's also appeared at NAR a couple times,
yeah,
and stuff like that.
He's legit. It's Hassan Riggs is their founder. He's a good dude.
I used him as well, and they've done a very good job. I think I'm going to end up going back to them. I stopped that because of what I've been doing now, but I'm probably going to end up going back to them. So yeah, setting appointments is amazing.
I honestly, I'm terrible. I am a terrible CFO. I don't know exactly. Basically, they have pricing tiers that you can pay monthly or yearly, and you pay by how many new contacts they're going to follow up on your behalf per month. But it compounds. In other words, they're not only going to reach out to the 100 that came in that month. As your database grows in there, because they have their own CRM that their text-based ISAs use. And so I just pulled my numbers. I've had 150 appointments since I think I started using them in August. So how many months is that? 8. So it's, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's like 10 to 15 appointments per month that they set for me. The other cool thing with them is they'll also they give you a call list. So if they've engaged with someone, but they haven't been able to get them a hard appointment on your calendar, they'll notify, like I have, and I'm not doing a good job with this, but I have 200 people on my call list of people that have engaged but haven't gotten on the appointment, and so they're building you a warm list of people that you should follow up with.
That's nice.
I ask in regard to that, I'm new to the group, and Josh got me involved. It's been very impressive in my first week trial. Is anybody here using the Sync CRM, which has a very robust AI text program, and how that compares to Smart Alto or this new Ava product? Does anybody have any feedback who's been using Sync?
Well, I can tell you that as far as AI with Smart Alto, is not AI. They're texting, but it's actually people behind the texting. So it starts off as a little bit of automation, and then when they actually respond, there's actually people there that will respond. Because you get that, are you a real person? And they'll say, yes, we're a real person. And they'll answer them based on how they respond. So if it's a weird, that automation wouldn't necessarily respond correctly to, you'll notice that they will actually respond appropriately.
So nobody here has ever seen the Sync AI in its sophistication, I take it?
I have.
Well, I have time and I do AI, so it's similar. So
yeah, I have, but it's very expensive for some people. And that's why Sync is more encouraged for like company-based versus individual, unless you're running a good sized team.
Thank you for the
And
feedback.
the thing with so the other one is it is predictive what Hassan has. And so it actually, like I said, I looked at it before, but I already had something else going, and I don't have it off the table yet. But I've had conversations with them and looked at what it has, and like I said, it's about 2 years old, and it's very well thought out. And the key word here was it was designed with real estate in mind.
Are you talking about the Smart Alto or Ava?
Smart Alto.
Like,
How about anyone have experience? I mentioned this the last couple of masterminds too, because I think this could be a huge opportunity between Smart Alto and then the system Callingly. Anybody use Callingly out there? Not Calendly, the calendar booking, but Callingly. No one out there? I'm hearing really good things. Let me just show you real quickly. Something to check out because they do a free trial. So they essentially lead route, like as soon as that lead comes in from StreetText, it immediately connects you to. So speed to lead. So it's like a system that will connect you on the phone with that lead as soon as they come in.
I've seen this come up before, so it must have been in my.
Check that out too. I'll put it in the chat feature, but they have a free trial worth checking out so we can get some feedback. I think between something like Smart Alto and Callingly, you got a pretty dialed in system right there.
Marcus, is Callingly integrated with StreetText?
It's seamless integrations with everything, so I'm guessing it wouldn't be hard to. I'll put this we can make it happen. I'll put it right here in the chat feature for you guys. Someone do some trials with them and see what that would do. Do you use anything like that, Josh, where just speed delete? Or are you working on the text part, the phone connection?
So I was honestly, my phone is dinging. I wrote down a note from somebody, something what is calling? What is the primary benefit of Callingly?
Every lead gets a call within seconds. Every result is tracked and your CRM is always up to date.
Okay, well, I mean, KV Core does that. I can do that with ringless voicemails, and I can do it with other things. So I don't. Depending on the campaign, I have a ringless voicemail that goes out, and you can even set up KV Core to do that automatically, where it's making a call. I don't like that. My personal opinion and experience is that repels more business than it gets you.
Got it. Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. That's my personal opinion and experience, especially when you're generating upstream business,
top of funnel
business. My experience is you oftentimes do more harm than good, because you then appear to them like every other salesperson that just wants a commission.
Ooh, this is a good topic.
I want to just quickly add on that. Like, think of it this way: like, these people are looking for a reason to bail, right? I mean, if you give them a reason to bail, they're gonna bail, and that's 100% the thing. And
you're saying calling them and texting them too much is what makes you feel like typical agent?
For me, my take is it coming off more as automation. Not having that realistic conversation. And Sean on our team can speak to this. He deals with it a lot, where we have people assuming he's a robot, right? And he's texting, he's messaging people, and he is, sending realistic messages. And if we had an actual bot in that role, we'd miss out on a lot of opportunities, because people send him all sorts of crazy stuff. We've seen it all. As a way to say, hey, are you a real person? And his responses back are always, in kind, professional, of course. And I am a real person. I can appreciate what you just sent me, but don't worry, I'm a real person, and get over that hump. And then these people who just assume he was a bot realize that, given his response, he is a real person, and that first level of trust is the most important. And if they're looking for that trustability at the beginning, and they're met with an answer that doesn't line up with what a real person would say back, they're gone. They're not checking back with you again. And that's my anticipation. Sean, if you wanted to add something to that, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I've been doing is I've definitely been adding some video and almost personalizing it to a point where you can still send out that automation, right? So you're not coming off as a bot. You don't seem like a bot. You're not that automated response. You're still personal. And I've had people ask me, who sells seashells by the seashore? They've asked me questions where a bot wouldn't know. So I would have to respond. And of course it's professional, like Logan said, but there are ways to get around it. And it's pretty funny. It creates conversation, right? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to spark that conversation, which then leads to more conversation. So it's difficult. I see where you can come in with the whole people won't respond because you're a bot, but if you're being realistic, as soon as they say stop, just sparking more conversation. So both sides to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the live humans, while calling Lee and then this other service might be very good to add. But I thought I heard Josh saying that, if you're contacting them too much, or are you saying the bots too much is what you don't want?
Are you asking me specifically?
Yeah, I didn't understand your comment about.
My opinion, I don't know how to answer too much. Okay. But my personal opinion and experience is many agents repel more business than they retain through too aggressive. Now, some don't do enough, right? Some don't do anything, or only go look for the immediate. But most agents who are aggressively manually calling, my experience, it's doing more harm than good. And the ones where it's working, it's like I would say it's teams, and it's a I don't even know what the word is, but it's like it's like a Wolf of Wall Street phone room style thing. And yeah, you can get business that way. It's just not how I choose or recommend to build a database and a clientele base.
Well,
I mean,
that's
I
the
guess
automation.
the thing that the filter, sorry, Leon, the filter I look through is, how would I want to be treated if this was the situation for me? Right. And not only that, how would I want to be treated so that I would happily refer this person moving forward, and trying to reverse engineer that experience for them. So to certainly make sure they got the thing they were looking for and wanted, and ask questions. This all happens with us through automation. Ask questions that will let you know the ones that are more in market now, might be middle or bottom of funnel, and then have things in place so that you build top of mind awareness, build relationship and rapport in a one-to-many fashion, so that when their motivation hits a tipping point, they're reaching out to you. And that's a tricky line, right? Like, what's too much, what's not enough? I mean, it's not, it's got to make sense for you. It's got to make sense for the audience that you're building your database around. There's not, the hardest part of all of this is I don't think there's one cookie cutter answer for it, or one, a one size fits all type of answer for it.
I totally agree, Josh. And I think the other thing on that is your approach matters. So what I love about Marcus when I listen to him is that Marcus can pick up the call and he's laughing with that person on the other end within seconds. And so the frequency that Marcus can approach people is probably a lot higher than somebody that is just driving. And so the key is, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday too, you got to approach it with curiosity, not with interrogation. So if you are a high driver personality and you're like, I'm just going to call until they pick up, you may want to dial it back and see what happens. So Leon actually shared that in his automations, he was overdoing it, but he didn't even realize it because he had so many automations that were going out through CRMs. He actually dialed the automations back and his conversions to conversations and appointments went up. So give that a test. So if you are a high driver, dial it back. Now, if you're on the other side and you're like terrified and you're like, I actually don't like to follow. I don't even like to send a text message. I don't want to send a video. do the other side, like dial it up. Try the other way, see what happens. Send that text message, send the video, send the by text, send the email, the extra email, and see what happens. Because you're only going to find out what the right amount of volume is if you actually do it. If you and to Josh's point, like if you go, and I actually think this way personally as well, but then Miriam goes and proves me wrong every single day, which is Miriam goes after home value leads and she picks up the phone first, and she's doing really well as a result. She just got #1 in her brokerage, and she's just the nicest person in the world. And so she's been able to be really successful with it. So I always like this, the other side, but on that note, approach by opening the conversation. So if someone sends in like someone comes through your ad and they give you a home value, send a text message right away that basically says, hey, I got your inquiry. I'm super excited about your home. I think the market's going up. I have a couple more questions. Do you have a second? And then like, have you done da 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 da? So you're starting the conversation early. And if they respond in a way like what Sean said, where they're testing you if you're a bot, have fun with that, play with that, send them an emoji, send them a joke, send them a little animated GIF, something that shows people, hey, I'm actually a real person on the other end here. And then the other thing that was to this note in this conversation, on a previous mastermind we did, I forgot his name, but he was talking about how video text just skyrocketed his appointment ratio. But the key was that he didn't start with the appointment. Now, Richard Cure, he actually talked about this too. He started testing it. And as soon as he had a back and forth, as soon as he got a response to one of his text messages, that's when he sent the video text. And he said when he got the appointment after that, which was like starting to happen with everybody, it was like they already knew him. The conversation was like having like meeting with a friend. And so there is an approach that makes a lot of sense, but think about it like this. If you're a driver, start a little bit slower. And if you're terrified, start a little bit more and just see what happens. I think that's the #1 rule of thumb there.
Yeah, I've heard someone say it as you're not looking to close them, you're looking to open them. Like it's not about closing, you're looking to open people up. Like if you're going out to close, people feel that. But if you're going out to open the person up to conversation, then you're going to have more conversations because people feel that too. So it's also about like, I think that downsizing ads, that type of lead will want a phone call. They're like, stop with all this damn technology. Like someone just pick up the phone and talk to me. Where most people like, I don't know, like what age it starts at, their phones are on silent. Like it doesn't even ring. And you're a real estate agent, so your phone's on, your phone rings all the time. But most people live with their phone on silent. So if you're just doing the phone strategy and you're not doing any of the text strategy and you're not looking for different ways to open people up, you're just missing all the people that are on silent. Like we have a plumber coming to our house right now. And I told him my wife won't pick up the phone. Like you need to text her. She's busy. She will never pick up an unknown number on her phone. Like never in the history, you would have to phone 100 times. And she would finally go, okay, maybe this is someone, after she white paged, like looked up the number to see what the number was before she picked it up. So like, that's the generation we're coming up with. So you have to like think like, what other channels do I need to open this person up in? Because it's not just going to be one channel. We need to think multi-channel because there's different ways of connecting with people. Steve, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just I've got like automations running as well. And sometimes like leads come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And if you're texting them, obviously they're going to know it's a bot at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So there's those things. And then the other thing is just being yourself, right? So you're going to attract the customers that you want to attract because just how you respond, right? So there's going to be people that you're not going to gel with, right? So it's just a matter of just going through your process and creating your process, customizing it to yourself, right? So that's kind of how I've been doing it. So I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Really good advice, Stephen. That's really important. There's two things with that. First, if for anybody who's using Julie, I call her AI. It's definitely not AI. But anybody who's using Julie knows to make sure that first and foremost, you do set those time parameters for exactly that reason you're mentioning, Steve, because if you were to text me, I would say at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, right? As not a saved contact in my phone, somebody better be bleeding, right? The later it is, you text me at 1 o'clock in the morning, well, now we're gonna have an issue. I'm calling you in the morning, I'm not gonna be very happy with you, right? That's the general idea. So do make sure that regardless of what systems you're using, set those time parameters so that, if you send me an email at 1 in the morning, I think I can get over that. But you start sending me text messages, I'm not gonna be very excited about that. So do make sure that you set those. But then further to that, automations are great, but they are an extension of yourself. So make sure that the verbiage that you use and the way that you're speaking and the information you're communicating is in line with you. Don't just come in and subscribe to automations and say, okay, it's set, I'll forget about it and good. No, go through those automations and read them back in your own voice and say, I would never say this. I would never train my assistant to say it this way. Fix it. That's what these automations are there for, is to, again, be an extension of yourself. So make sure that you do go through, read them all, set those time parameters and all that stuff. But very good information on that, Steve. Leon, you had your hand up as well?
Yeah, first off, hey, all you beautiful looking people and guys. Glad to see the Leon Challenge. Y'all got your cameras on. It's good to look at you. That's first step. Steve, just a funny thing about that. I sold a house at 3 o'clock in the morning one time because the guy was blowing up my phone. And I just come in from the bar, so a couple beers and some humor. I looked, and the guy goes, I don't care. Call me whatever time. My girlfriend wants to see the house. If she don't get in and see it, I got to sleep on the couch. And so I go watch this. And I called the guy up, and I met him at 10 in the morning. But once again, it's because I actively took over. And the automation thing we talk about, when I always say don't automate yourself out of a job, when I said less is better, it was because when you've got 2 and 3 systems, one good thing that I really strongly recommend, we are coming into the second quarter of the year. You can look at what you've done thus far for production and go back in there and see what you need to tweak. And even if you say, you know what, I'm gonna shut some things down and see what I get. You split test ads. Why not split test your systems? And then the law of redundancy is you can confuse people sending them the same text from 2 different or 3 different sources and emails as well with different names on it. I mean, I always brand the Premier Houses team and I try to have everything consistent with that. So at least they see it. But if you're not getting the results you want, you might want to go back in there. It's like Josh said something earlier, and I like what he said. I don't roll high numbers. I'm at a different point in my career where I don't need 100 sales a year. I call referrals when I don't want to work. I've been sitting here in Nebraska getting that AOL you got money thing because just the systems are working the way they're supposed to. I've been doing the follow-up, and definitely too much is too much. Less can be better. And if you guys don't have things going out, I go into StreetText and I look at the conversations. You have to remember the text messages have stopped. So I will go send messages out of there just to get the response, but I'm still picking up the phone and I still do at that point video messages out. And remember to be you. I'm driving down the road where there's wind whipping and I missed a perfect picture yesterday because the wind warning sign they had was 75-mile-an-hour gust tomorrow. And I meant to get a picture, but I was too busy trying to stay on the road because that would have been humor. But you got to remember to put yourself in what you're sending out, because otherwise what we really have to remember is if you think you're the only person sending this stuff out, you're wrong. So separate from the pack. I don't care. You can say stupid, funny, whatever. Make them laugh, make somebody's day. But that's how you're going to get a reaction on the phone.
Awesome. Any other conversations around that? We've been talking about, do you pick up the phone or do you let your automations kick in? And I know there's been some great conversations in the past about that. Some people love to pick up the phone. And Gabriel hosts a really good role play session on that. I don't know if he's here or listening in. You're here, Gabriel. I don't know if you are able to get on to video, but that's the topic right now. Do we pick up the phone or not? I guess it depends on the leads or type of leads, buyers, sellers, listings, or do you just say pick up the phone at all times? What's your thought on that?
I think that should be priority, right? It should be like somebody's trying to reach out to you. I think Leon's example, 3 a.m. deal, that's a perfect example. It's an extreme example. You don't want to do that, obviously. You want to use your intuition and your judgment, but that should be priority. Another thing he said that's absolutely correct is you're not the only one doing this. If you think you're overwhelming them, imagine how much other crap they're getting from all the other people that don't want to make the call, right? It's just like they're being bombarded to the point where they're probably just ignore. I guess overall, from listening to the conversation, they're all good points. I think that the thing nobody talks about is your support system. Having all the automation, all the bells and whistles, all making all the calls yourself, everything is great if you have the right support system to back it all up, right? Like for every automated text, there should be one human calling, also leaving a voice message, also reaching out. So that's my opinion. I think there's a lot of good stuff out there. I just learned about another thing called High Note, which is some other great tool today. It's just every day there's these great tools to help us individually build our business, design it the way we want to, because you all have the, I guess it's the privilege, the opportunity to build your business the way you want it to be built. And don't try so hard to build it like that guy and this woman, and that's what they do, and that's what I want to do. It's like, just kind of take a step back and do what you need to do next based on the tools you have available to you at that moment. But most importantly, again, support system. Have your TCs, have your assistants first, then have the buyer's agents and associates, then have the ISAs when you have thousands of leads coming in. It's a support system you want to build out right in the right order at the right time. So that's my feedback.
Yeah, and remember, socials are always watching. Like I clicked on an ad the other day for like a high quality t-shirt. Do you know how many ads I have right now on my Facebook feed for high quality t-shirts? Like my Facebook feed is covered because Facebook now knows, hey, Ira's looking for t-shirts. So they know that I can show him ads that are t-shirts now. So if I clicked on a real estate ad, what do you think happens? Facebook goes, hey, this person's in real estate right now. I used to be in fitness and I shifted over into this. Facebook, now my feed is full of lead generation for real estate agents. How did that happen? Because Facebook figured out he's not clicking on that other stuff as much now. He's clicking on this stuff now. So he must have shifted. So I was talking, I don't even know if he's on here, to somebody the other day, and he said, you know what's my favorite? Address only leads. And he goes, the reason is because most people won't do the work to reach out to that person properly. Because if it's an address only lead, what happens is they clicked on it before and they learned their lesson. They put their name and their phone number in and their phones blew up with the robots. And now they still haven't got the information they need. They still are feeling like, I don't really understand. I'm still looking, I'm still searching. So they've now just put their address in because like the last time I put my name and phone number in, everything blew up. So I don't want to do that anymore, but I still want the info. So now you have the opportunity, like it's almost like it's highlighted the person that's like understands how these automation things work. And now it's somebody who's still interested in the information, and you can now reach out in a unique way, a way that sets you apart from everyone else, a way that puts them first and opens them up to conversation, as opposed to like, how often do we throw out the address only lead and we say things like, well, they probably, like if they wanted the info, they would have put their name and their phone number. Well, they did that once and they got burned. So they're looking for somebody who's not going to burn them. And that possibly could be you and your personality and the way you show up in a different way. Elmer's got his hand up. Somebody else had their hand up though. I didn't see before Elmer, but Elmer, go ahead.
Speaking of address only leads, I've got a few here since I started my sellers ad here. And just quick question for those that only get addresses. Obviously, I look it up on my MLS. My MLS will tell me who bought the house last, and I'll get their name, and I'll probably skip trace it and get a couple of numbers. That might be right or wrong. What's the suggestion for you guys that love addresses, leads only? Just send. I'm a big mailer guy. I love sending out letters to clients or farming and sending letters. Would that be the best next step, I guess, for address only leads? Just sending out maybe a CMA, because obviously they request it because they want their value. would you send a CMA with your business card, or how would you guys suggest approaching those? Since I just started my seller's ad, so what's a good suggestion? I'm guessing.
So Elmer, one approach you can do, which works really well, is the Get Off the Fence campaign. So essentially, when you have an address only and you're doing the mail outs, you have a bunch of people who, as Ira said, are on the fence about providing you with more information. And you want to get them off that fence and moving forward. And so the Get Off the Fence campaign is really simple. You send them a little bit of market information, maybe like a neighborhood report. Like, here's your neighborhood, here's what's happening, it's crazy out there. Your home's unique. You're going to need something specific. And then you follow that up with a campaign, which is a postcard. And you say, hey, you filled out my Facebook, but you didn't quite finish. Here's the link to get your complete CMA. And then that gets them back into the same funnel. But now you see them as a second submission. And as soon as they come to the second submission, they will fill out everything all the way through to their phone number. And because it's their second time they're seeing it, their second time they're going through it, and they got the value from you on the front. So that's the Get Off the Fence campaign. And it's really, really effective from a mail out strategy approach. And it takes the two touches. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing. That is true. But like you said, right, the first thing we want to do to these clients is add value to them. If you add value to them, they're going, well, you know what? Instead of calling me and blowing me up, he actually sent me what I needed to know. Let me go ahead and give him a second chance and fill that out. So that's amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Another thing you could try, Elmer, I've got a couple that have worked for me in the past, and it's keeping in mind what they asked for, offering them something, I call it value stacking, so something that is in the same realm as what they asked for, but I've lowered the imposition to them. And what I mean by that is I've got an address. What I want is their phone number and or email address. What can I trade them? I want to trade them something now for their information. So what I like to do is reach out and basically say, you know, you're requesting a home valuation. Unfortunately, I can't get you an exact value until I've seen your home for myself, or, you know, at least had a conversation with you. However, 3-bed, 2-bath homes in your area are selling anywhere between X and Y. Give a really wide range. Then go on to say something like, one thing that will no doubtably affect your home's value is other homes, you know, similar to yours activity. In other words, homes that come on the online or sell of the same value, you know, the same kind of structure. So if you would like to receive an instant notification alert anytime a home like yours comes online or is part of a transaction, simply text me your email and I'll set you up on an instant notification alert. So you basically put them on a buyer's list for homes like theirs in and around their area. So anytime a home like theirs is part of a transaction, they get that notification, and all they had to do to get that was text you their email address. How easy is that, right? There's that one. The other one I like is I used to do digital sendouts all the time, where I would have a like Jonathan was saying, a digital market report, right? So I would have month to date stats. I would have, here's what happened in February 21. Here's what happened in February 22, right? Then I'd say, okay, here's what's happening, you know, 21 of this month. Here's what I forecast, all that stuff. The same kind of stuff you probably all get from your brokerage on a, you know, a monthly basis, all that kind of stuff, right? I also like to have community events and other things that are locally relevant, and I just make it a really nice layout. Now, if I get an address only, what I used to do is I used to take that digital printout or that digital mail out, and I would print it one time, thick paper, bright color ink, front and back, way more expensive than I'd do as a long-term project. But I send it to them one time with a nice little disclaimer at the bottom that says something to the nature of, I hope you enjoyed receiving this, and if you'd like to continue receiving this, you know, as an effort to keep our community green, I will not be sending it regular mail again. If you'd like to receive it again, please text me your email and I'll set you up on the digital version. The next one you get will come via email, whatever it is again. So give them enough information in that mailer that they go, that's kind of cool. I might not be ready to sell my home yet, but why wouldn't I want this again? I'm not getting it regular mail again. Here's my email. Go ahead and email it to me moving forward. Now you have address, phone number, and email. So one of those two strategies. For me personally, my mail out responses, I used to get anywhere from 3 to 6%, which is atrocious, but that was the expectation. That simple little shift in text me or email and you'll get something else. My response rate jumped up to about 30%, which again, for mailers, to me, that was immense. That was a huge leap in my production and something I would recommend for you to try.
Wow, awesome. Thank you everybody for the advice on the chat in here. Thank you guys.
Hey Josh, you have something to say on this. What have you been doing?
So
every seller lead, we have a full, I just call it a dispositioning process. So whether we get address only or any level of data, we have an entire process every morning. And part of that is sending out a packet that looks like this. There's a cover letter. There is a one-page flyer with some unique value propositions we have for sellers. There's a NAR or an RPR mini property report. So they're getting the information they were interested in. And then I've got a last page that just has screenshots of Google reviews. I'll put a link to the service we're using for this. One of the things that I love about this service is there's a QR code here. And if Deborah, who this was sent to, if Deborah scans this, I get an email from the service we use that says, Deborah Marsh just scanned your QR code. Here's her address. And so now I can pick up the phone, I can text, I can email. Oftentimes what we're doing, and this is actually really cool, this service also, we've got it set up so that when someone scans this, they get a follow-up direct mail piece that says, because what it's saying here is scan for a cash offer, but you could have it say whatever, scan for a more accurate valuation. It could be scan here for a personal message from me. You can do whatever you want, and you can send them to whatever page you want. The way we've got it set up is that when they scan this, they automatically get another piece of direct mail to me because they've already shown me, I'll open your mail and look at it. So they get a direct mail piece that says, hey, would you consider selling your property at 20 Center Street to one of our clients? Call or text me at this number if so. If not, no worries. That's the kind of stuff that is in my course.
And Josh, what are the value propositions that you're offering in the first sale out?
A cash offer. We've got in my organization, we've partnered with a cash offer platform that allows us. We have a couple of different cash offer. Like we can get them a traditional cash offer. We can get them. We can help them sell it for market value and lease it back. So anyway, we've got a cash offer. I have something. This is from Dean Jackson. If you don't know Dean Jackson, he is like the greatest. He's one of the greatest marketers of all time, and one of the greatest real estate marketers, certainly of all time. And I just very much align with his way of thinking, which remind me, for some of you, something that he believes in that not all of you will agree with, but it's the way I run my business, or try to. And then we've got a unique online offer platform that we have. So we just call it the Home Boss Selling System. But you could have any number of, it wouldn't even have to be unique value propositions. You could have, something about including them in your silent market. You could offer like a pinpoint price analysis or a professional equity assessment report. I think that the value here is that you're giving them options for what they can proactively choose as a next step for them, right? Like you're leaving it up to them, like what they think is the logical next step.
So what program does that mailer?
I am putting it in the chat right now. It's a platform called thanks.io. If you use the link in the chat, whoops, I sent that only to Richard. Sorry, Richard. If you use that link, that's my affiliate link, full transparency. But if you use that link and you email the email address with that, we'll give you all of the templates that we use with it that you can R&D. And we're happy to help with the setup of that. And also full transparency, my buddy's the co-founder there. We've been spending anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000 a month on direct mail through the platform, because I just believe, I know from long enough experience that a certain percentage of people will hang on to this. whether it's this or it's a postcard or it's a note card, and they'll hang on to it. And I've gotten people that have reached out to me 3 months, a year, 3 years. I've had calls from people that had a direct mail piece like for 7 years. They put it in their junk drawer, or they put it on their refrigerator, right? They just held on to it because just in case they needed somebody to, get them a cash offer or get them whatever.
Josh, just to add to that, a client chose me because of my stack was the highest. That was it. You send mailers, kept all the stacks, your stack was the highest. That's why I called you. So you never know.
I think that's like so valuable. So when we call it farming, but the analogy is farming. It really is. It's you're sowing seeds, then you're sending content, you're watering it, you're keeping yourself top of mind. This is also why Facebook ads is so powerful, because your brand is being seen by the market in such, it's like billboards on steroids. You're getting, like, you're not just on one highway, you're on every single news. It's really, really huge. The key there though, and this is Ira, you talked about, you shared this great analogy, and you said a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll plant the seed and they can't see the plant growing. So they start to dig up the seed. They're starting to they're too aggressive in their approach. So they're starting to dig up the seed to see if they're growing, but now that they've dug up the seed dies. And so when you do this follow-up, the kind of strategies that Josh is sharing, Adrian's sharing, like the key there is you're staying consistent, but you're doing it in a velocity that keeps you top of mind without making a person want to click off. You don't want to lose them too soon. You want to build that rhythm so that you're warming that person up to the point that they're like, okay, I've already made the decision at this point that I'm going to work with Josh. I've already made this decision at this point that I'm going to work with Adrian. I've already made the decision that I'm going to work with you. So you want to get to that level. And now it's just, they're picking up the phone. It's not a matter of, it's not a matter of if, it's just going to be when. And you're going to need that deal 6 months from now, 12 months from now, and track it, find out, ask them like, hey, what caused you to, and then you might find it's that email you sent, or the mailer you sent, or the postcard you sent 12 months ago that you completely forgot about. And you're like, it didn't work. Well, it did work. It was sowing the seed, and it was just taking time to germinate. And so that's just like really, really key in the follow-up. And so again, do you want to have a flash in the pan today, or do you want to build a business for tomorrow, for the future, something that's growing and thriving? And that's the key. And I think that you'll know yourself, your intuition will tell you whether or not you are causing, if you're over following up or if you're under following up, and are you watering it enough, or are you under watering it? That's basically the question.
Yeah, I think there's a slight caution there in terms of and you said it before, John, which was awesome. Like if you're a driver, maybe you need to dial it back. But if you're on the other side, maybe you need to crank it up. And I think some people are scared of the unsubscribe. Like you're scared that, if I do this or I send too much, they're going to unsubscribe. So all of their processes are based on not getting an unsubscribe. So I always challenge your mindset. Is your mindset like, I'm scared of getting an unsubscribe? Well, all of your messages are going to be like this, pleading and begging not to unsubscribe from me. Where all of my messages are made to open conversation. Is this message useful to them and valuable to them? I'll keep sending it. So just be careful of what side of the fence you're on, because sometimes I see people are hypersensitive to the unsubscribe. All of a sudden they have one unsubscribe or two unsubscribe in a row, and they're like, I'm doing something wrong, and they dial everything back. So just be careful on that fence that you don't teeter one direction or the other, that you kind of just unsubscribe as part of it. People are going to unsubscribe, keep evaluating, keep measuring, and don't make a rash, quick decision based on a couple unsubscribes or a nasty negative comment out of the blue. Because sometimes we just hold back. That's when we dig up the seed. When the seeds were ready to come up, you just got a couple of the bad seeds that never came up, and you made a rash decision and changed course. Adrian, we have lots of hands up.
I think the
To
key
add
is
to
whatever
that,
is.
Ira,
Oh yeah, you go, Adrian.
to add to that, Ira, I think there are two key elements here. One, you have to stop thinking about yourself and think about who you're talking to, who you're connecting with. And the other thing is, nobody says no to an element of value. So if you're marketing real estate, there's a number of resources out there of information for you to give for free. And that touches people.
Oh, true. I saw Kim had your hand up, but I didn't see where it went. Kim Holt, you still there?
Still here. I actually took it down, but I wanted to say one thank you to Josh. I'm gonna probably sign up with his program. And because I use it very similar. And one of the guys had asked earlier what to do when you get the leads in. And you and I have, as you know, I have 2 leads. I'm back in LA, so I covered 2 markets. Now I'm back in LA. But 2 of the listings that I got earlier this year, I did again with the 2 that came in through StreetText. And I put them in home buy automatically whenever I can.
Hey Kim, we can't hear you. The internet's not great. It looked like it was going to improve, so I let it keep going, but we're catching pieces of it. Maybe try disconnecting and connecting to your audio again, and then maybe I saw another hand come up. But I know Kim she's done fantastic right out of the gate here. She's with StreetText listings. But who else? Gia, you had your hand up.
It was up, but I'm not sure how. Kept going
I
up.
saw
I'm
it
like, why is
disappear.
it keep going up?
No problem. Well, maybe you're supposed to ask a question. Maybe there's something that's just lingering that you're meant to ask.
I just want to comment to
what
something
everybody
that
is saying. I just really think it's just how you want to approach it. For me, I'm not one that likes the call, but I also agree with about too much automation, and so I'm just trying to create that path, that one path where they're not getting a bunch of automation. I think the idea of incorporating the video to let them know about the automation would help, but I feel better talking to a warmer audience rather than a cold audience. And so when I did Smart Alto, it actually did help warm them up. And so it created some opportunities and appointments for me. So yeah, just depends on how your personality and how you want to approach it.
So I have a question about the Smart Alto. I've missed the beginning of it. You're saying, I think I heard that it is a bot or a live person. Two things I heard, so it's conflicting. I'm not sure I understood.
So there is automation to start off. And then as the person engages or responds, there could either be continued automation or especially if they answer the question, appropriately. But there is a live person that can step in and start responding. But their goal is to set appointments for you, 15-minute appointments for you. And it's based off of your Facebook ads. So your Facebook ads, anybody who does, fills out a lead ad form, it goes straight into their CRM. They start engaging them.
Thank you.
Well, Jeff, you got your hand up.
Yeah. Hey, can we circle back around to Josh's offering and get some more specifics in terms of what's involved in timing and content and all that stuff? Is that a no?
Yeah. Do you mean my course? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I would say I don't know. It's what is the day today? April. I mean, certainly this month, right, fellas, gentlemen?
Yeah, Troy is working on it. He's got all the content in there. He's just organizing it and just putting some like text space on it too, so that it flows all. And we'll have we don't have a specific timeline on it. He's working on it.
So it'll be set up as a course, much like Janky's and Jennifer's, and offered through StreetText for X amount of dollars.
Correct.
Yeah, and we'll do a session with Josh on that where we can kind of go through it all as well, and then that will be a really awesome way to brainstorm and learn from and pick Josh's brain, because guys, like as we know, like the masterminds are incredible. The amount of knowledge and insight that is right here in this room is massive. And some like Josh, pick his brain. Like literally, Josh, you've written books. You've been doing marketing since, you've been on Facebook since 2010, right? Like running ads on Facebook.
Dude, as soon as they made the live, yeah. As soon as it was live, I had ads on there within probably the same month. The little right column ad, that was the only thing you could do. The little right column ads.
Yeah,
so I think it was probably like 2007 or 8. Was my first ad.
That's how we started too. Is just the right column ads. That was all there was.
Years ago. Yeah.
That's fun. So Josh is like the amount of knowledge. Pick his brain on anything, and you will be. It's deep. It's a deep well. Yeah.
One thing that I think it was the unsubscribe topic, and there was a comment that Leon had added, and I don't want to. I'm not saying this to contradict Leon, because if someone unsubscribes from you, my point is they were never, or my perspective is they were never going to do business with you in the first place. But I have closed several deals in the last 24 months where they had unsubscribed, but because I continue to run ads, they resubscribe. And I've had people do it multiple times. They sign up, they unsubscribe, they resubscribe, they sign. And just the fact that just the consistency and just like that you're showing, like I'm not going away, and I'm not I'm a real person, and I'm here to help and serve versus sell. You can win people back. Some you won't, but the ones that you don't or won't win back, you probably didn't want to work with them anyway.
Yeah, it's scrubbed them. No, and Josh, I don't take exception to that. What I tell people when they over deliver and people just unsubscribe, it's because they got 10 billion people hitting them. And I
100%.
tell people, and like I say this, if they're in your CRM, people sit there and they want to send something right away, and they got all this stuff going out to them, and they're bombarded by 18,000 other realtors. They unsubscribe, and like my MLS, it's hard to get them back. So I don't. What I do is I feed them into one of my other systems. The drips are going, and if they come back, they do. But it's just, I just always remind people the difficulty of when they come out of your systems, they have to come back and re-input them in or get them restarted. It's creating work you don't need. I go from StreetText, I load them into HomeBot. I've got them coming out on my drips and Lion Desk. So even if they unsubscribe from one, they're still getting that trickle from me elsewhere. And if they come back, they do. If they don't, the system scrubbed them, and I'm being productive with the people that want me, not dealing with those that don't.
Yeah, that's a good point. Audit your content. If you send something out, get people who you trust, and by trust I mean people that like friends or colleagues or whoever, but who give you feedback, who give you the real feedback back. So you send your stuff their way and say, like, don't pick the nicest person in the room. Pick the person who's going to be like not mean either. Don't get that person, because some people just pick stuff apart and they love it. Like, just find somebody who's going to give you really like authentic feedback and say, okay, well, would you like this? Would you appreciate this content? Would this want you to click more? And then just like, what the beautiful thing about an automation is you can improve one email, and that email might go out to 1,500, 2,000 people. It's like one task that will make a huge impact to your business. That's really key. And then the other thing is, like we were talking about before, which is like, well, we kind of started this whole mastermind on, it was like frequency of conversation. I think the key is do whatever scares you. And that sounds weird, sounds counterintuitive, but do whatever. If it's you're terrified to send that text message, send the text message. If you're terrified to not call because you're afraid that you might lose that deal or the opportunity, don't call. Because here's the truth, is that desperation is going to push people away because you're going to come across too hungry. You want to make sure that you come across in a way where it's about their needs first. Posture yourself so you are serving them first, always asking yourself, like, is this beneficial for the person I'm speaking? Will they leave this conversation having gained something of value? And if you haven't been able to answer that question with it like a very big yes check mark, absolutely, it's not the conversation to have yet because it's about you. People will pick that up right away. You want to make sure the conversation is about them, about their needs, their value, and then watch what happens. It's game changing.
Yeah, and then just speaking to John's like measuring, I'll give you an example here at StreetText. So here at StreetText, I went in and looked at when somebody comes in as a trial, they get that first email from us, does it have like the value in it enough that they're reading it and they're clicking on it? We have all that data. So then I looked to see like what were the open rates. We then changed the email to the one that was getting the best open rates and click rates, and then measured it across time to see how many people were opening and clicking on that. And after about 4 weeks, I noticed we went from about a 50% open and click rate to a 75% open and click rate. So it just goes to show that the content in the email was more meaningful for you guys coming through as a trial, so that you were using that. So oftentimes what we do is we don't measure the change. So like if you're going to implement a new email or new messaging, put it in and then measure that change across a period of time and see whether it increased or decreased your result. And then go back to the messaging that was working. We always say test, don't guess. Like sometimes you write something and you think this is what people are going to need, and then you put it out there and nobody like does anything with it. They don't click on it, they don't move. We thought it was everything, but really the results on the other end of it speak to it. So let the results show you what's working, and then do more of what worked. Like what was the wording, what was the title, what was the subject that worked there? I think that's key, because we always say test, don't guess. Just throw it out there and see what the results show you on the other end of it.
Just to piggyback on Ira, it's exactly that. A lot of us have a tendency to not work inside our business. And you always hear me talk about the shiny new button. I'd rather polish up the ones I got that are doing things. So every now and then the self-assessment isn't just what you did, it's what your systems did. And if you're not looking inside that to see what's going on, and I mean, I'll be the first to admit it, I still miss things inside there. When you're running a lot of leads and stuff like that, is just life, other things can get in the way. And I was laughing the other day, I had like 10 or 12 emails and texts I sent out doing follow-ups on people that had been inside the business, because it's just, you have no control over what other people's schedules or life is like. And when they come in at the times they do to do things, you know, Julie, like I said, mine goes from, I think 8:30 in the morning till 8:30 at night, because I want to be mindful of people. But I had some late leads came in and I was traveling, and I just had like 8 or 10 hit, and I was like, whoa, I'll get them tomorrow. And tomorrow came and something else got in the way. So, working inside your business, you've got the systems, but if you don't take the time to sit down and every now and then look at each one individually to work through it, make sure it's doing what it's supposed to do, the message going out is still relevant, and that you're following up on whatever the message was that went out, then you're losing business that you've already created. And like I said, you don't need to go create more business if you're not working what you already have in the system.
I've heard the term used before, don't get addicted to vanity metrics. Like we can get addicted to vanity metrics, meaning like it looks good to have this many likes or this many views on something, like, but is it getting you the end result? Like, is it getting you, some of us get addicted to vanity metrics. Is it like pushing us to the end result? And having a lot of us assess that this time of year, tax time, right? We go back and we all of a sudden look at all the money we've been spending, all the money we made, and then we make decisions about how we're moving forward. But what if we did that at the beginning of the year and did it all the way through, instead of waiting until tax time to realize, hey, this wasn't working or that wasn't working, or maybe I need to tweak this and get more value here, not just going on day by day vanity metrics. Unsubscribes means they don't love me. No, it just means they were busy and they didn't want 6 other emails coming into their inbox, so they unsubscribed. So don't get stuck on vanity metrics. So I've heard it explained as before. Good mastermind, always some awesome sharing. So we're always here and always enjoy it. If you have a book full of notes, A good mentor of mine once said, don't let overwhelm, like overwhelm is a choice. You can come to these things and you can get overwhelmed and decide to do nothing because there's just too much information, or you can say, hey, I'm not going to get overwhelmed. I'm consistently always learning and implementing. Just get beyond the overwhelm. And after this call, even if you can't do it right now, set some time. Say, Thursday at this time from here to here, I'm going to implement this change. And then I'll show up next week to learn the next change I'm going to do. So just schedule it. If you can't do it right now, schedule something in the coming day that you're going to spend some time, as Leon says, in your business, not running around like a chicken with your head cut off the rest of the day, right? Just in your business on Thursday, maybe at 1 o'clock, I'm going to do this that I learned from the mastermind.
Yeah, that's so good. Like the big thing, like pick one thing today. Pick one thing that you're going to take away and you want to implement. And I know we say that, but like just do it, just the one thing. And just watch what happens to your business when you do one thing all the way to value. Bring it all the way to completion, all the way to the point where you're actually seeing value from it. And then the other thing is what Ira said there kind of tricked my brain in the sense of, you know, what are we doing? Like overwhelm's a choice. There's some really, really healthy habits we can do in life that are going to benefit us elsewise. Like, what are we doing in just, I know this is the end of the mastermind, but like exercise wise, what are we doing Marcus shared last week how Steve beat me in a hill sprint. I'm not taking that hands down. I started the 3,000 squat challenge. So I'm doing that 100 squats every day. I'm for 30 days. If anybody wants to join me on the 3,000 squat challenge, do it. Like, because, you know, I heard another guy say, which is like your belt buckle should be tight and your wallet should be big. So stay healthy, stay like physically healthy. It helps your mental healthiness, and physical healthiness is not hard. It's just pick like number one, surround yourself with people who are healthy. Number two, it's just like the little things. I had a guy say, he's like, pick the apple instead of the chocolate bar, and then watch what your body starts to crave a month from now. And it's going to start to crave the apple. And because that's actually got nutrients in it that's benefiting it. So stay physically healthy, and that keeps us mentally healthy, which keeps us in the game. And then watch what happens to our momentum in our life as a result. And then Steve and I were going to do a rematch.
We'll do a Facebook Live that day for the rematch of the Insider Group. Bring it on. We'll see which one of the brothers are gonna claim the title. No. Enjoy your day, every day. We'll call it. We'll see you all week. See you in the Insider Group. Keep sharing your learnings. If you did something and completed it, put it in the Insider Group. We'd love to celebrate it with y'all. We appreciate y'all. Have a good day.
Appreciate y'all. Absolutely.